Okay, what is up, everyone? Alright, gonna be doing just some sketching today. Nothing too crazy. Just gonna get into a little warm up. I'm sitting down to do a bunch of work. So, I'm gonna do a little sketch, and you guys can watch and, I don't know, talk about something. I won't just be quiet the whole time. But yeah, let's get going here. Just gonna draw a night lady. Just gonna keep it close to home. I always like to say for like warm-ups to stick with something you know, stick with something like really familiar, because then you're not stressing about like designing shit when you're trying to warm up. Because the less stress when you're warming up, the better, I think. Um, so yeah, I like drawing night ladies. I've drawn a lot of night ladies, so I'm gonna stick with that. I'm just gonna do some basic shapes for the helmet and kind of just build it off of there. I don't really have like a specific plan or anything. So let's just start making some cool shapes and see where it goes. Right? Does that sound okay? Hope it does. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Kind of, not really. I'm just gonna draw what I want anyway. So yeah, let's do some of that stuff. I right now I'm using a Pentel RSVP fine point pen. It's amazing ballpoint pen. People always ask me, "Oh, what the ballpoint pen is that you use?" And it's this one. This is the best ballpoint pen um, that money can buy you. At least I think. It's just a nice pen to use. Got a good feel. Got a good line quality. The ink doesn't skip. That's like a huge thing with me for ballpoint pens. If the ink skips, then I literally will throw it directly in the trash, or I'll like save it to donate it. That's what I do with a lot of my art supplies. Like if I buy stuff to try and I don't like it, or I use it for a little while and then decide I'm not gonna use it in the future, I'll just donate it rather than letting it sit in a drawer. It's good to think about that kind of thing, because you could leave it in a drawer for the day that you might use it, um, and from my experience, that day rarely comes. Or you can, donate it to someone else that could use it and maybe can't use art supplies of their, can't afford to get art supplies of their own. You can donate to like a school or something. Give those kids some art supplies to use. Because especially nowadays with who knows what's happening with like funding and shit, like where that's gonna be. So if you can go out of your way and maybe make a sacrifice to help someone, then do it, because who else is gonna make good in this world if you don't? So all right, that got a little deep. Um, let's bring it back home and just continue drawing this cool night lady. Uh, there are a lot of things I feel pretty strongly about. I've mentioned probably several times that I don't like to make like resolutions, like New Year's resolutions, but rather choices in my day-to-day life that don't revolve around starting at a certain time, but just general things. It's like a year-round resolution, I guess. You don't have to wait to the new year to make a change in your life or do something nice for someone else. There's no timetable on that. So just do it whenever, man. I just like drawing armor shapes. That was a terrible segue. I'm not known for my quality segues, but I like just drawing like armor shapes. Like I have no idea where this helmet is going, but I'm just like drawing interesting shapes and having fun with it. And then I'll fit a face in there somewhere. And why don't we make this like a ponytail helmet? As impractical as it is, ponytail helmets look frickin' cool. They look wicked cool, man. You got a helmet. You want to show off the fact that you have like cool long hair as well. There you go. And I haven't been doing it as much because I've been kind of like detailing out this helmet, but when I warm up, I like to make sure my pen is always moving fast. I don't like to dilly dally in like little areas, as I dilly dally in this eye right now. But eyes are different. Eyes are the windows to the soul or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know. But drawing eyes is fun, especially like cartoony eyes. That's the best. Cartoony style eyes. I don't know. Why don't we do like a cool design on the front of her helmet since we don't got a lot happening up here? Let's make it like I don't know, like a dragon head or like a bird head or something. I don't know. This kind of looks like bird-like, right? Just make it look like there's like a motif or like a relief on there. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Because that shape is cool, but it's big and empty, so I want to put something in it. Without, well, I don't know if I succeeded, but without trying not to draw too much attention away from the actual figure. Like the face and stuff, so. Yeah, I don't know. I like drawing Night Ladies. That's familiar for me. I've drawn a lot of armor. I like drawing armor. Before like the last year, that was what I was drawing like all the time. But it's 'cause it's fun. I think a lot of people get like intimidated by like armor because there's like so many interlocking pieces and stuff. But if you get enough practice in, you kind of get a sense of how it should work, like how like a segmented suit of armor should like fit around the body and like where the joints need to be and stuff. It's just like drawing a figure. Over time, you'll get familiar with it. The more you do it. You know, that's with anything though. I think it's really interesting with drawing that people get frustrated when they're not good at it. You know, people say like, "Oh, I can only draw stick figures," or whatever. And guess what? That's where everybody starts. When I started drawing, I drew stick figures, you know, when I was a little kid. And if you think about it, if you don't practice, you're never gonna get better. Like I think that's super straightforward, but something that often gets like, I don't know, like overlooked for some reason. That like you got to put in the time. Like with anything, like you want to be a professional soccer player, like you got to practice soccer. You can't just, you know, wake up one day and say, "Oh, I want to be a professional soccer player," and then, you know, you realize you're not on a professional level when it comes to playing soccer, and then what? You just get frustrated and give up. You're like, "Oh man, well, you know, I'm not good at soccer, so I guess I'm not going to be a professional soccer player." Well, it's like if you really want it, you got to practice, man. It's pretty simple, I think. And really kind of reassuring if you were to ask me. You know, people get frustrated, like, "Oh, it takes so much work to get good at art. It takes a lot of work to get good at drawing and this and that." It's like, well, the super nice thing about it, because I'm a silver lining type of guy, is that literally all you have to do is practice. Like if you just do it, you'll get better. You know, there's no secret. There's no, you know, special technique. There's nothing, you know, I could talk all day about drawing, but at the end of the day, all I really need to teach you is to practice. That's it, man. Simple. Just do it. If you want to get good, just practice. You know, and if you don't want to practice, then you probably don't really want to get good. Maybe you're just not that passionate about it. That's fine. You can also make yourself passionate, you know? Because I have, one of my biggest issues when it comes to art is motivation. Just, you know, wanting to sit down and draw sometimes can be hard, especially when you got a lot of stuff going on in your life. You're busy, you're tired, you know, whatever else. You kind of just got to make the time. One of my favorite things to say, and it's pretty funny, but I'm totally serious about it, is draw on the toilet, man. Because I know that like a lot of times if I go to sit down in the toilet and I know I'm going to be in there for a while, you know, I grab my phone and then I had this realization one day. It's like, why am I not drawing? Like, why am I not using this time to draw? And it's healthy to take time off of drawing, but if you're trying to make time to draw and having a hard time, having difficulty like finding the time to do it, you got to look in all the places in your life where you're wasting time on your phone or just sitting around watching TV, and think about whether or not you want to be drawing during that time. Like if it's really something you really want to get better, put that shit down and draw for a little bit. You'll thank yourself. You don't even have to thank me for that advice. You'll thank yourself. I promise. 100%. I have no idea what I'm doing here. as I'm telling you what you should be doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I especially like drawing armor, especially with female characters that's not like, you know, just like chainmail bikini sexy armor. I like drawing realistic armor. Honestly, it's sexier when the women has when a woman has the sense to protect her tender bits in battle. But everybody knows about the ridiculousness of the chainmail bikini and, you know, boob plates and exposed cleavage and armor. It's basically just asking someone to stab you directly in the heart. So, you know, something to think about. It's important to me. While there is an amount of enjoyment I get out of drawing sexy armor, and believe me, I still do it. I'm not going to stop. When it comes to like designing practical, believable characters that are like actually going to show up in comics and stuff, I tend to stay away from that. Not to say that there isn't a time and a place, but the time and the place is not all the time. Doesn't make sense, man. Doesn't make sense. Because like a lot of, if you do research into like, you know, medieval combat and stuff like that, everybody was, well, not everybody, but most of the dudes were armored up or had some degree of protection on their bodies. So pretty much combat was a matter of finding your opponent's weak spot. You know, stabbing them under the arms where they've just got chainmail or leather, or finding the chink in their armor. That's where that you know, that phrase kind of comes from. It's finding the weak spot and exploiting it. And if you got this ridiculous female armor that's got your boobs exposed, guess what? That's like painting a target right on your chest, right over your heart and lungs, where all those, you know, those squishy bits that are essential to your survival are. And dude in combat is gonna be like, oh, you know, thanks for pointing out your weak spot. Stab you right there, and then game over, man. Like, you know, sexy armor just makes you a good-looking corpse. But I'm talking about the practicality of fantasy armor, because I live in a fantasy world where, you know, I try to make sense out of nonsensical things, and that's just kind of, you know, my, what is it when you've got like a foolish, there's like a term, I don't know, I'm not thinking of it, it's like a tragic flaw, I guess. Maybe that's being a little dramatic, but if I had a tragic flaw, it would be trying to make sense out of things that, you know, inherently don't make sense. But as a storyteller, I'm all about, you know, realism. You know, even if it's like magical realism. So, you know, because it makes things believable. That's one thing I love about drawing in a stylized way, is making stylized drawings look believable. And if that doesn't come across to you in my work, that's fine. That's just what I get out of it. That's what I like. And that's, you know, that's part of the joy of drawing for me. Especially after I spent so much time in art school drawing realistically all the time. And wow, I've been drawing. I'm just going to ignore the fact that I was out of frame there a little bit. I haven't been paying attention to my phone while it records. Because the thing about drawing is you're looking at the paper most of the time. So, sorry kinda about that. But yeah, you know, I don't claim to put out the most high quality videos. I claim to put out the videos that I put out, and I'm super lazy when it comes to editing and stuff. So I pretty much just record everything in one shot, and hopefully it's good. If it's not, that's fine. But I put out there what I put out there, and you know, anything past that is just kind of a matter of chance. But that was fun. That's a cool drawing. I like it. There's a lot of nonsense going on in here. Shapes are kind of hard to read in this area. That's fine. Not a big deal. And I'm gonna do this. It's about to get weird in the color balance right now. I got these Bic highlighters, just because I wanted something to add some color to my drawings in these little sketchbooks. Because normally I'd use like watercolor or something, but the paper is super thin, and I honestly haven't tried watercolor on it yet, so I don't know how it's going to respond to watercolor. I imagine there's going to be a lot of like wrinkling and stuff. So I got these highlighters because the paper works good enough for markers. I do have a like sheet under here because the paper is so thin in these. This is a Moleskine Cahier. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Cahier sketchbook slash journal thing. It's the one with like the paper cover. Comes in like sets of 3. But the paper is so thin that if I draw in pen on one paper, it'll leave an imprint on the next sheet. So I'm using this page underneath, not only to catch like bleed through from markers or whatever, but to prevent from leaving an imprint on the next page, because that just kind of muddies things up and makes it look messy. And I am selling these. I've still got a couple. Basically, I'm doing pre-orders. I talked about in the last video. I won't talk about it too much here. But if you want one of these sketchbooks, it's going to be $100, which is a pretty good price. It's like 40 some pages or something like that. And I like to allow people, when they pre-order a sketchbook, to make like requests. The request for this sketchbook was to do kind of like my old school style stuff, when I did a lot of like Final Fantasy inspired stuff and a lot of girls in armor and a lot of like high fantasy animal designs and creature designs and stuff like that. So that was like the only request made for the sketchbook, is that the running theme kind of be like fantasy medieval style stuff, which I'm totally down for, obviously. But I'm down for pretty much anything. I think it's not only a fun exercise for you guys to make requests, and for me to draw stuff, because it takes me out of my comfort zone and leads me to draw stuff that I, potentially wouldn't normally draw, if that makes sense. There's a lot of like, people request a lot of like anime characters, or they request their own original characters, and I love doing that stuff because it's out of my comfort zone. It pushes me to do something I'm not familiar with, when as an artist, I like to stick to things that are familiar. A lot of time, not all the time. I do like to push myself in different directions, because I notice the patterns in my work. I notice that I draw a lot of like torso only characters facing left at a 3/4 angle. That's my comfort zone, man. And if I get pushed out of that, that's great. Let's see. Let's get some color in the eye here. That's one thing I really like to do. Don't mind me rooting through my colored pencils. I'll just kind of pile everything over here so you can see what a mess my desk is right now. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm kind of talking away from my phone where I'm recording, but it's whatever. Is whatever. I'm looking for a darker pink or purple. I don't know where it is. Is there? No. Yeah. I need to do a video with full color. That's been asked for, and I definitely need to do it, so don't worry, it'll happen. At some point. I got a lot of catching up to do with other videos and stuff, and a lot of comics I still need to record and stuff like that. I've gotten some pre-orders for these sketchbooks, so I've been working a lot in those, just because. But this is a fun drawing. You see, just pen drawing with a little bit of color. You can really make things pop by just adding a little bit. Is that kind of? Oh, here we go. Especially if you're just doing like a line drawing without much shading, like I do, and there's a lot of like, gaps and stuff. Fill those out with color, so it will really bring out your figure. And I spent 20 odd minutes on this drawing, which is a little bit long for a warm-up. I say aim for 10-15 minutes, but 10 to 20 minutes is not bad. You could even do 5 minutes. It depends on on the pace that you work, and how long you're going to be sitting down to work for. If you're only going to be sitting down for an hour to work, do a 5-minute warm-up so you don't waste too much of your time. If you're going to be sitting down for a few hours, like I like to do, spend a little bit longer on your warm-up. Why not? But here it is. Here's my warm-up. Hopefully hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you got some good information out of this. Let's see that stuff. Yeah, good to have a lot of choices. So yeah, practice. Just get a sketchbook and draw in it. Your sketchbook doesn't have to be perfect. It's a place for you to make mistakes. It's a little book that when you make mistakes, you can close it up and no one will ever know. And if somebody has to see your sketchbook, say, alright. I mean, if people ask me to see my sketchbook, I'm totally fine with it because I've come to terms with it. But if you need a place to make mistakes and you're not quite at the level where you're super confident about your mistakes, you don't really give a shit, and you will get there eventually. Get a sketchbook, hide it away from people, and just make a whole bunch of mistakes in it. You'll learn. I promise you, you will learn if you put in the time. So put in the time, and I'll see you next time. If you've got stuff you want to show me, always hit me up. I'm super bad at responding to messages. I get a lot of emails, and I try to respond to them all, and sometimes I miss them. So if you send me an email and I don't respond, just be like, hey, what the fuck, man? And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see it, or I saw it and I forgot, because I'm human. That's just how it is. Nothing much I can do about that. So cool. All right, I'll shut up now, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching this one. I love you, and bye.